With a population of only 250,000, it's estimated this year alone they'll have 2.5 million visitors. Is there any territory left uncharted creatively in this land of fire and ice? Stick around for the 411 on Iceland. Welcome to this thing I call Chosen Idea. My name is Marco. I'm a creative generalist. All that means is I've been lucky enough to get paid to do all kinds of creative stuff throughout my career. I've learned some things along the way, and I'm hoping throughout this process I can pass some of those things along to you guys. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll learn something from you as well. This whole story starts with my friend Mark. He's a very talented photographer. 6 years ago, he asked me to go to Iceland, and I said, "Hells yeah, sign me up." And then I thought to myself, I actually have to stick around to pay some bills. I don't think I can go. Lucky for me, this year he asked me again, and this time to do a travel film. And I said, I'm on board. Sign me up. If you'd like to check out the film in its entirety, I'll put a link in the description below this video. Anyways, so to address the first question about whether it's worthwhile going to Iceland, the first question that you're going to have to ask yourself is who you are as an artist. That's kind of a loaded question. It's going to be something that you'll probably ask yourself throughout your career or your hobby, or maybe it's something that you have, maybe you're further along, maybe you've asked yourself this many times already, but continuing to ask yourself that question is part of the creative process, and finding that thing, whatever it is that you bring while you're taking a photograph, while you're shooting something, or perhaps it's something that you do in post. There's that little piece of you that you bring to everything that you do, a little piece of yourself. There's a song there, I think, and that is a key factor of what you bring as an artist. Why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because the question of whether or not you should ignore Iceland because of the crowds, or if there's any creative ground to break while you're there. If you're a street photographer, you're not going to ignore New York just because all the other street photographers have been there before. Iceland is one of those places that you owe it to yourself to go to if you're interested in landscape photography or in landscape filmmaking or travel filmmaking. My friend Mark's not only got a winning smile and a talent for photography, but he's also a fountain of knowledge. And I figured that one of the things he'd know something about was Iceland, since he had been there before. Unfortunately, well, to be fair to Mark, his trip to Iceland before was very different from the trip that we had gone on. And there were some things that I would have liked to have known before going that he didn't tell me. I'm here to pass those things along to you, so listen up. Number 1, you're going to want to go to guidetoiceland.is. There they have a list of the dumbest things to do in Iceland. Now, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is not do anything on the list. I'll provide a link in the description of this video where you can find that list. And just don't do anything on the list. It's simple, just don't do anything on the list. In that list, by the way, they mentioned something about checking the weather before you go out driving anywhere. Number 2 on my list of things to know is, if the weather is good, hit the ground with that camera bag running because it might be the only good weather you get. That's what we did. We were really lucky with weather on our trip, and we did take some liberties, but one thing you've got to know is, even within short distances, things can really change as far as weather goes in Iceland. So that'll take me to my next point. Number 3. Number 3, if you haven't already guessed, leave the fashion show for your nights out in Reykjavik because it's layers that you're going to need. One on the outside to keep you protected from the wind and the rain, the ones underneath for warmth that you can take off and put on as you need them. Then you're going to need some hiking boots, preferably ones that are waterproof. Good news if you're rich, because you can do whatever rich people do while everybody else is listening to what I have to say about number 4, because number 4 is about saving money. What's attracted a lot of people to Iceland is the fact that flights can be very affordable. What is and isn't affordable is relative, of course, to your particular situation. It can actually be quite expensive once you get to Iceland. There are a few things you can do to lower some of those costs. Here they are. The number of Airbnbs in Reykjavik has grown by 125% in the last 2 years. While that's awesome for us tourists, it's not so great for those in Iceland who want affordable housing in the city. In general, the Airbnbs in Reykjavik are very good. Combine that with the fact that the people of Iceland are very kind and accommodating, it's kind of a winning combination. Not only are you going to save on the accommodations themselves, but the fact that you have access to a kitchen is a big thing. If you're going grocery shopping in Reykjavik, try to find the Bonus grocery store. Bonus is a chain of grocery stores that you'll find in Iceland. They've got one in Reykjavik, and by far it's the best deal you're going to find with groceries. For those of you with your heart set on shooting the Northern Lights, the next cost saver is for you, because going in the off season is when you'll find the best savings. Everything from your accommodations to your car rental. Unfortunately, things like restaurants are still going to cost the same. The off season is in the winter months, and the cost savings I'm talking about are paying something like half for renting an SUV, for instance. I'm all about traveling light, but bring at least a small tripod. If you're shooting landscapes, that means you're going to want to do some time exposures, some time lapses. Maybe you've got a long lens and you're shooting wildlife. You're going to need a tripod for that too. What you're going to want to look for is one of those tripods that's got the little hook underneath that you can hang your camera bag on. That's going to help weigh that little tripod down if the wind comes along. And it's windy in Iceland. It's not going to completely keep that thing still, but it's going to help quite a bit. Because of the tremendous growth in tourism, Iceland's actually having a hard time keeping up with the infrastructure required to support all these people visiting the country. The government's actually looking at limiting the number of tourists at certain sites in Iceland. But it's not because they don't like us, it's simply because they want to minimize the impact to the environment, so these things are there for generations to come. Some of the most incredible sites in Iceland are actually in quite remote places. And the government's been looking at building airports in some of those places to alleviate some of the strain on the environment felt by sites closer to Reykjavik. Not only would building these airports help the local economies of those areas, but it would also be a boon to photographers and filmmakers who want to go to those places that haven't necessarily been frequented by people like us before. So come back for more of the fun and excitement as I take you behind the scenes for some of the process of filmmaking, photography, title design, you name it. Remember, work to make your chosen idea a reality, and take care until then. Peace. I think there was something else I was supposed to say. Oh yeah, don't be the bad apple that spoils it for the rest of us. Oh, right. Subscribe and hit that like button if you like.